Welcome to Comics with Dan. We're going to be reviewing Space Ghost number 4. So at the beginning of this issue on Ghost Planet, Space Ghost, Jan, Jace, and Blip all hear this alarm that gets set off, and it signals the release, or rather the escape, of Zorak, who is Space Ghost's his deadliest enemy. Space Ghost goes off to investigate Zorak's latest hideout, but he refuses to let Jan, Jace, and Blip come along. Jan, Jace, and Blip get an alert that there's trouble on Grax 3, and they know that Galactic Patrol can't get there in time, so they go off to investigate that, even though Space Ghost very explicitly told them to stay put. So this issue was awesome. Honestly, it was probably my favorite of the series so far. We get to see the first of Zorak, who is obviously Space Ghost's most famous, or should I say infamous villain. And David Pepose writes this really creepy and sinister dialogue for him. It's just awesome. He's written in a way that makes him so menacing and absolutely worthy of being sort of the big bad villain in this Space Ghost run. And it's definitely different from the coast to coast version that we saw, which I think is a good thing based on the tone that we've seen from this book, which I don't think is overly dark, but it's definitely not as light and goofy as the coast to coast TV show that a lot of people know Space Ghost from. And Zorak's definitely not a band leader in this one that's sort of passive aggressive. He's this sort of maniacal cult leader that's just he's completely unhinged, and it's great to see. I don't think that a wisecracking band leader is really going to strike fear into the hearts of readers, so I'm glad that they went with this version of him. We get to see a little bit more relationship development between Space Ghost and the kids. Definitely more of that father and children relationship between the two of them. We can see that Space Ghost definitely trusts them more than he did in the beginning of the series, even though he won't let them come along to investigate Zorak's hideout. There was a lot to like about the art in this book. Jonathan Lau's sort of grittier style and sort of more natural looking shading. It continues to be sort of a unique take on a more cosmic adventure type book, because you'll see a lot of adventure sort of space books that are a little more bubbly or cleaner, I should say is the word. But I really like how Lau's his pencils show through the coloring that Andrew Dalhouse does. Andrew Dalhouse's his colors, they continue to add that sort of celestial flair that Jonathan Lau's art needs in order to kind of bring this book over the top. The one note that I would have on Dalhouse's colors is sort of the brightness that he uses for Zorak. In the first couple pages, you see he uses more shadows and it's darker. And I think that's a really good look for Zorak, especially considering all the dark and sinister dialogue that Pepose puts towards it. But then when we get later into the issue, Zorak's wearing this orange jumpsuit and he has that bright green skin. And it almost seems cartoony, and that version almost seems a little bit more like the coast to coast type of Zorak. I think there's a way that the color could be sort of a brighter green while still having sort of that menacing look. But I also have to say that I think I'd rather have a more beat up, roughed up Zorak who's kind of seen some stuff, not the sort of, I guess, a little bit cleaner version that we got. That being said, again, the art really well done. I think that it's not exactly what you're used to seeing in a book set in space, but at the same time, it checks all those boxes that you're looking for whenever you're looking for a space book. It has sort of those, giant explosions and different things that sort of make you aware that you're reading a book set in space. But at the same time, it's not done in the exact same style that a lot of those books are. Taylor Esposito did an awesome job on the letters in this book. I'm really, really glad that he went with a sort of different looking speech bubbles for Zorak. They're crumbling and you get that feeling that Zorak's voice is just sort of screeching and grainy and not clean. So that's definitely awesome work from Esposito there. There's a lot of different creative lettering here. The letters really guide the reader through this issue, which is, I wouldn't say too dialogue heavy, but dialogue heavy enough that the lettering requires to be in a good spot to make sure that the reader knows sort of where to go. I just think overall, really great showing from Ringo-nominated letterer Taylor Esposito. This was a really great part one of this two-parter. The worst thing about this is that I have to now wait another month for part two. So, you know, definitely go check this out. It's in comic shops on August 7th. It's if you haven't read any of the other issues of Space Ghost, you don't really need to get this, although I would recommend picking them up anyway. But this part is definitely the beginning of a sort of standalone two-story arc that I think is going to be probably the best one that we've seen yet. Make sure you like the video, make sure that you subscribe, check out my other videos here, and thank you for watching.